YAHAWASHI, Ba'Hashem. Shabbat Shalom. All the praise, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahawashi, Ba'Hashem Rawchaa Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Greatmillstone, and honors to all you fellow laborers kicking this word. Quick lesson on Erdogan, which he's the president of Turkey, and he's been causing an uproar in regards to his dealings with America. He's cooperating with Russia, buying missiles from them, and now you have this. Erdogan defies Trump over Iran sanctions. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Friday continued to chart a collision course with Washington over Iran. Erdogan is categorically ruling out enforcing American sanctions intended to put Iran in an economic straitjacket. It is impossible for us to cancel relations with Iran with regard to oil and natural gas. We will continue to buy our natural gas from there, he said, while returning from the U.S. General Assembly. Turkey is Iran's second largest importer of natural gas. The importance of this announcement is economic, said Iran expert Jamshid Asadi of Francis Burgundy Business School. Any income in Tehran's situation is very welcome by the regime, which is increasingly starved of funds. And why they starved of funds? Because of the sanctions that America has been bringing upon it. Because that's what sanctions are intended to do. The sanctions are intended really to hurt the society, so then the people of the society will begin to uprise against the rulers, and so then the rulers will either relent to what the people who are putting sanctions on them want, in this case America. So they would say, all right, well, we're gonna have to do what America says in order for the sanctions to come off, or they're gonna end up clamping down on the public, being more oppressive to the public so they can stay in power. So it's a strategic move, and Esau knows that, and that's why Esau implements these sanctions in these different countries. And then what does he do? He usually has an American puppet set up, to slide into power once that existing regime is toppled, because of all of the pressure that they're getting from their people as a result of the sanctions that America brought in the first place. Trump imposed sweeping sanctions on Tehran after withdrawing the U.S. from an international nuclear accord with Iran. Dubbed a maximum pressure campaign by Trump, White House officials indicated they want to cut Iran's energy exports to zero. I'm going to jump down. Turkey will not go against Iran. We will not be Iran's enemy. Competitor, yes, but never its enemy. Erdogan acknowledged U.S. sanctions are impacting trade with Iran, saying Turkish private companies have curtailed oil purchases from the Islamic nation to avoid punitive measures. You see? I'm going to read it again. Erdogan acknowledged U.S. sanctions are impacting trade with Iran, saying Turkish private companies have curtailed oil purchases from the Islamic nation to avoid punitive measures. Speaking anonymously, a European banker said internationally operating Turkish companies would not risk being hit with U.S. sanctions for trading with Iran. Even so, the Turkish president is pledging to step up bilateral trade. Yeah, so in the midst of all that, in the face of all that, Erdogan is still adamant about dealing with them. On this issue, which is trade, especially in many other issues, we will continue our relations with Iran. I'm going to jump down. Turkey will circumvent and break U.S. sanctions against Iran just as they have done in the past, because Ankara does not believe it's bound by those sanctions. This will likely result in U.S. sanctions against Turkey, but Turkey is ready for that. Now, mind you, and I'm doing this lesson to highlight how Esau's power structure is crumbling, and there's all types of divisions, because Turkey is a part of NATO right along with America, so they're supposed to be allies. But look, Turkey is preparing for sanctions imposed upon them by their ally, which is America, which that right there shows you that, again, this power structure is crumbling. All right, without a spiritual eye, it looks like Esau has a firm grasp on this place. But those of us who are, locked in, looking at the state of the world, we can see that this man's going down. And this is a sign. And I'm going to go ahead and end there. There's more to it, but that's pretty much the point. You can go ahead and look at it for yourself. I'm going to get a few precepts. This is Mark 3:24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Right. And so the kingdom of America, because really NATO is ran by who? It's really ran by America. All right. It was set up by America. America. But what's happening is divided against itself, because Turkey, they've been a member since the 50s of NATO, and recently they've been in all types of conflict with America. So the kingdom is divided, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. That's right. So this kingdom isn't going to be able to stand. This empire is not going to be able to stand. This is Job 18:7. The steps of his strength, you know what, I'm going to start at 5. Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. Right, the light of the wicked. Who's the wicked? The so-called white man, the so-called Caucasian, the red Hebrew Edomite. All right, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. That's right. Now, Esau's not illuminating as much as he did. Why? Because the works that he's done in the dark have now come to light. So that's Esau's strength. Deception and people not knowing how he gets down. So the light of the wicked is being put out. Okay? And the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. That's right. So Esau's understanding is being put out. Esau's confused right now. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. Right, his own counsel shall cast him down. Because NATO, that's Esau's counsel. Now you have these Turks. Eventually what's going to happen is they're going to get into stronger cooperation with the Russians and the Iranians. And eventually what's going to happen, they're going to shoot missiles over here. All right, because all nations that have nuclear capability, this is according to Jeremiah the 50th chapter, they're going to shoot them over here. And it says the horns which is upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Let me go ahead and grab that. It's Revelation 17:16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Right, and the 10 horns symbolizes the EU, which Turkey's not in the EU, but they're in NATO. And it says the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. So they're all ultimately intertwined. The only difference is that between the EU and NATO is a few countries. Colombia being the newest. Colombia is ran by so-called white people. Because you might say, well, look, Colombians, don't you say they're Israelites? Yeah, the descendants of indigenous people and the descendants of black people which were brought there. Yet when you look at the administration, and it's been like this since colonial times, the so-called white man runs it over there. So they're the newest accomplice to NATO. Now, I'm not sure if they're an official member, or matter of fact, let me just go ahead and look it up. Colombia. NATO. Yeah, well, they're a partner. Let me see their membership. Right, yeah, so they're a partner. Colombia is one of a range of countries beyond the Euro-Atlantic area, often referred to as partners. Yeah, so they're not an official member, but they're pretty much down with it. Yeah, and then you have Canada, and then you have America, and then Turkey, right? So what, 3-4 countries? So they're pretty much all intertwined. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That's right, man. So America's own allies are going to turn against it. Let me get one more precept. Obadiah verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Right, and Turkey is a part of the confederacy. And Turkey, the Turkish people for the most part are Edomites. All right, there's also Elamites over there. There's Israelites amongst them, Ishmaelites amongst them, but for the most part, it's other Edomites, and they're a part of the confederacy. But guess what? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. That's right, because even though they're also Edomites, the Turkish people, they don't like to consider themselves as so-called white people. As far as being like other Europeans, they like to say they're Turks, and then their official religion is Islam. because I met a few Turks and they try to separate themselves. So they're pretty much what? They consider themselves just like as allies to the so-called white man. All right, them Turks, allies to America. So it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that are at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. That's right. So Esau is being deceived. All these different nations, they're deceiving him. And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Right. They that eat thy bread, meaning take your economic and military aid. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. That's right. Now Esau searching for answers. There's no understanding in him. That's why he's wearied in the multitude of his counsels, because his plans aren't coming to fruition as he thought they would. The Lord is throwing a monkey wrench, so to speak, in Esau's plans. So just a quick prophecy update. I pray the lesson was edifying. Call halayim YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. And the Wadi YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI, Kayaha Rawchaa Qadash for the Holy Spirit. Yahawah Rawchaa going to be going live soon in about 45 minutes. And hopefully that's edifying as well. Shalom to you. Till next time.